Grand afternoon, everyone. It is a brand new week, Monday, December 1st, 2025. It is 1300 hours and 35 minutes in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. We've had quite a bit of news come out since the last time I was here updating. We've had especially concerning developments and further development with the U.S. invasion slash liberation, assisted liberation of Venezuela. That is very likely to happen as soon as tonight. I would say this week sometime, if not tonight. That's gone on for quite a while with the hesitation and the preparation for that invasion. Let's see here. All right. So we have this news here. We do know, I believe, even the last time I mentioned the two National Guardsmen. Yes, they went to the hospital. They started recovering. At least one of them, it has been confirmed, a woman that was shot there has passed. She did not survive after reaching the hospital. She did not make it out of that hospital alive. That is going to happen more and more when it comes to the sleeper cells being activated, the Taliban, Al Qaeda, similar cells, Iranian sleeper cells. It's not just Iranian, Russian, and Chinese sleeper cells that are within the country already. Even those terrorist groups such as Al Qaeda and the Taliban and extreme radical Muslim people are within the country and they could be activated at any time, some more officially than the others. There's a lot of extremists in that religion that could just totally snap and do very similar to what happened. So we're going to get back into that more in a little bit. This is initially a live stream recording that is posted to the live section of my YouTube channel. Okay. This was one of the first times I saw it from Nexta. Europe is considering a retaliatory strike against Russia. That was from Nexta and Politico and even more sources now. The outlet was reporting that the EU is discussing scenarios that only recently seemed unthinkable, striking back at Russia for its drone attacks and sabotage on NATO territory. According to European officials and diplomats, the options being considered include joint cyber attacks on key Russian facilities, sudden NATO exercises near Russia's borders, and the launch of information operations aimed at Russian citizens. So that was one of the first reports of that. Not Russia, Europe is considering a retaliatory strike against Russia, a preemptive strike. I saw this coming from a long way out. It is now very possible and being actively considered We could see this preemptive strike any day now. That'll kick off the total full kinetic phase of World War III. In economic news domestically here in the US, about 95% statistically of employees say their pay no longer covers the cost of living. That was from INC, another source there. So most people, that's just about everyone now, is saying their pay no longer covers the cost of living. A very true statement, I would say. I even talked about this in one of the last videos. It was a recent video. It was a therapist. She was getting over $30 an hour. She had one child. In the end, she was left with maybe $400 for food and emergency use, pretty much. And she was making around $32 an hour with one child. So the economy is heading into further collapse. We'll get into that news even more coming up. Let me see. Yeah, I'll just get into that news right now. So we had crypto, the cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin have started to absolutely crash. It may be even in the process of collapsing at this time. It has fallen more than 5% within the last 24 hours. It's fallen thousands and thousands of dollars. I believe it is at, let me see. Bitcoin is at $84,783 right now and falling, rapidly falling. It is still going down. It's down over $6,000. It's down over 7% now. Bitcoin is collapsing. It seems to be collapsing. If not, this is one of the largest crashes Bitcoin has ever had. Thousands of dollars it is down. So it's a great thing that I do not have any Bitcoin or Ethereum, anything like that, any cryptocurrencies that are largely known like that. I put a very small amount into one when it was starting up, though it didn't rise anything like Bitcoin. Even that is down. I don't invest into cryptocurrencies. It is not a smart idea. When the power grid goes down, there will be no getting to cryptocurrencies, which it becomes more and more imminent, a power grid down scenario by the day, especially when it looks like Europe or the US does a preemptive strike on Russia. That is a very high possibility right now. In other news with war, we have this here from the leading report. It's further breaking news. Land operations against Venezuelan drug traffickers will begin very soon. That was from the President of the United States. So there's going to be further land operations against the Venezuelan cartels, and very likely the government there, since Maduro intends to respond even with the government forces, the military of Venezuela. That is absolutely imminent now. It could happen as soon as tonight, very likely this week. Other news to do with Venezuela is Russia has started to evacuate its citizens from Venezuela. So Russia is evacuating even from Venezuela because even Russia knows how intense it is going to be there, and other countries' citizens, such as Russia, should not be in Venezuela. It's about to be a total war zone for a little while. I don't believe any of that is going to last very long when it comes to Venezuela. We have this here confirmation that National Guard is going to be going to every city. I'm sure martial law may be declared shortly before, during, or after that. Here it is from even Fox News.
Homeland Security. Director Patel is already working hand in hand with Secretary Nome, Homeland Security. Director Patel has already arrested 500 suspected terrorists since January 20th. We're working hand in hand with Pete Hegseth. And yes, we are bringing in our National Guard to every city we possibly can. Who needs our help? And that's a lot of them. We're tied up, as you know, in a lot of court hearings right now. These young men and women in the Guard, they want to help our country. They want to be here. They are patriots, yet they will not be attacked by a radical Islamic terrorist who screams by reports, Ali Akbar, before shooting 2 of our Guard members and almost killing more.
Yeah, can you
Working hand in hand.
Wow.
With Secretary.
So they're using the attack that just happened on those 2 National Guards to justify deploying National Guard to every city, I would say every major city in the United States. I would think shortly after that they will declare martial law. At some point, I do strongly believe it is in, especially the president's plan, to declare martial law. That will keep him in power. There will be no elections. He will be in power all the way through World War III or total anarchy of the nation, which would happen very soon after the, say, preemptive strikes on Russia. The government and governments of the world will not last long after getting hit by a nuclear weapon and the power grid going down. There would be fallout and radiation going almost everywhere, especially in smaller countries. There will be total anarchy shortly after, I would say, even one nuclear weapon is detonated in a very strategic location that the East or even the West chooses on them. It's going to cause anarchy very quickly, in especially the first world nations. People do not know how to handle and react, and so many people out in the world have not the least bit of an idea of what is going on out in the world, and it's going to take them totally by surprise. A lot of people are going to go literally, some of them will go totally insane shortly after something like that happens. A lot of people will be totally panicking and not know what to do in such a scenario, a grid down scenario, and a possible nuclear weapon detonation, probably a lot more than one, seems to be a matter of time. We have this here. Gold has surpassed $4,250 recently. That is tremendous news. It's a great thing for gold. Everyone who has Bitcoin should be investing into gold after learning such a hard lesson. How quickly it could fall, crash, and potentially collapse. Gold holds its value. So that is a personal decision. I'm not a financial advisor, though I recommend all who have crypto, especially now, and those who aren't even as affected as much by it, should really learn the lesson from what is happening now with this total crash, if not total collapse of the cryptocurrencies. Gold will always hold its value. Yes, that is the dollar value of it, but gold itself has physical value. It will always have its value beyond dollars. Gold will far outlast the dollar and other fiat currencies. It always has. And then we had this here. Silver has hit $58 per ounce for the first time, marking a 100% gain in 2025. That's amazing for silver. Silver is far more affordable. That's an even easier and much better thing to own is silver. Since gold is very expensive to buy with the dollar, silver is an even easier option for most people. And we have this here, further and more information about the possible preemptive strike on Russia that NATO may carry out. NATO may carry out a preemptive strike against Russia. For the first time, the alliance is discussing the possibility of a preemptive strike on Russia in response to its hybrid attacks. Admiral Giuseppe Calvo Dragon, the head of NATO's military committee, told Financial Times about this. According to the newspaper, a number of Eastern European diplomats are demanding that NATO stop merely expressing concern and deliver a response. Dragon acknowledged that preemptive actions can be considered self-defense, but this goes beyond traditional thinking. Perhaps we should act more aggressively than our opponent. The questions are about the legal framework, the jurisdiction, who will carry it out, he also said. So they're trying to figure out how they are going to do it, I suppose, according to international laws, things like that. So it seems that they are actually actively working on a way to do a preemptive strike on Russia. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to totally justify that. and they're trying to figure out who is going to do the preemptive strike against Russia. So, very concerning, very likely that there is going to be a preemptive strike on Russia. The fact that it's even out in the news is most concerning. This is extremely serious and one of the most concerning things I have ever seen in the news is that NATO is seriously considering a preemptive strike against Russia. So, a preemptive strike is striking them before Russia strikes NATO. A preemptive strike in that way would likely be nuclear weapons used on Russia, tactical nuclear weapons to attack their military bases, their strategic targets, their nuclear weapons, mostly those targets. Then we have this here. Putin has now said if NATO takes steps against Russia, there will be World War III. So Putin is confirming that if there is preemptive strikes on Russia, it will be total World War III, the full kinetic phase. World War III is happening right now. It has been for some time, especially at some point during Ukraine, and especially is what I was going to say when Russia did drone incursions into NATO territory, such as Poland and some of the Baltic states, and I believe even Germany now. That was another serious escalation that has led it to where it is today. The full kinetic phase of World War III fast approaches. People need to continue preparing for this eventuality. And it's very much looking like it is going to go nuclear very soon. I expect by this winter, we'll say by the beginning of March, to be generous, there will be total full kinetic phase World War III. If not by that date, sometime in the beginning of March, it will be next year for certain. And it is very likely that it's going to be nuclear. It will not be total mutually assured destruction. It is very unlikely. Nuclear weapons are very precise these days, and they can be detonated in ways where it would not destroy the entire world. That is why nuclear war is more likely now than ever in modern times. That'll do it for this Monday, this brand new week. I do believe, once again, the attacks, the absolute invasion and liberation of Venezuela may begin as soon as tonight, if not this week. I will be back soon with further updates on that and World War III, and even the economy as it is further collapsing, and there's even news coming out about the current economic collapse. Please like, comment, subscribe, and you may even donate if you want to with the link I put in the description of this video that will be posted to the live section of my YouTube channel. Love, light, and blessings to you all. I hope to see you all on the next one.